So, oh wait, Harry, this is Lord Potato, and this is, well, what if Yuji Itadori had special eyes? Now, they are not going to be like the Six Eyes, actually, they're going to be similar to the Six Eyes, but not. Because, well, I was thinking of giving Yuji the Six Eyes, but you see here, in the anime, it was kind of, not anime, I think in the manga, it was said that there can only be one pair of Six Eyes, but yeah. And so I changed my mind for that. And then I just thought of giving him Aizawa's abilities. And then I changed my mind again. So instead, I decided to make him have a special eyes that I will actually name. But other than that, I will also give him something else that, well, I was thinking of giving him. But yeah. Now, you probably can already see, well, three of, well, what's it called, the abilities, or maybe four of the abilities of, well, Yuji's gonna have, but whatever. Or five. But not the point. So, first, let me say one thing. Go subscribe to Anime Sensei or Iconic. Me and Anime Sensei don't know when we're actually gonna do what's it called, Snoop Dogg, or what's it called, Rage Naruto, but yeah. But yeah. Or what's it called, the other series, what if Naruto was betrayed with Iconic, but hey. I really haven't heard about them, but hey, whatever. But not the point. Other than that, let me begin. So, we go into, well, Yuji. He's in bed, and for some reason, he has a dream. Well, not even a dream, a memory of a girl with brown eyes looking at him and saying, "We can always be friends, right?" And then, well, alarm clock wakes up Yuji, and Yuji says, "Huh? What the hell? Son of a bitch. Let me go back to sleep. Wait, I have school! Fuck!" This is where, well, Yuji, his hair isn't pink, it's black. His eyes are still brown. And, well, Yuji does have Yuji glasses on. Well, shades to kind of protect his eyes, mostly. So, of course, he gets ready wearing black clothes, a scarf that's kind of grayish, and, well, just his hair is kind of a little bit long, but not really much. So, of course, this is where Yuji gets ready and gets to school. Yuji, he decides to, well, first, when he gets to school, he's like, oh shit, not this again. So, of course, he does get what's it called, his two friends, what's it called, the finger that he found still, the, what's it called, cursed finger, because, yeah, Yuji still finds it. So Yuji is confused with this, but he doesn't really care, and gives it to his friends, because they wanted to do something after school and all that. So Yuji, he was in, well, in the same kind of, what is it called? The after school activities or whatever. He was in that place, in that classroom with the other two. I forgot that girl and the guy's name. But yeah. Of course, where, well, Yuji, he has a sleeping bag, a yellow sleeping bag, a yellow sleeping bag that he usually sleeps in because he doesn't care about school that much. He falls asleep, but yeah. Of course, it's where, well, that gym teacher comes out of nowhere and says, Yuji! Or not Yuji. That's president class or whatever. Not the teacher. The student president or whatever. Says, Yuji Itadori. Since this is not a, a proper, after school activity, you need 3 members. Yuji's not signed in. The gym teacher says, Yuji Itadori, I need you in my class! He goes all with that freaking antics, and Yuji, he fully wakes up and says, well, fine, if I kick your ass, I'm staying back in this goddamn classroom, or whatever. The gym teacher says, fine, but you won't be able to beat me. So, of course, well, the gym teacher still throws the ball, and of course, Yuji, he grabs the ball, and of course, he's kind of tired. He looks kind of tired, hell, because he just woke up from the whole kind of gym teacher annoying him. This is where, well, he throws the ball up and down, and this is where, well, Megami does come in and kind of looking around where to find the cursed finger because he can't fucking find it. And this is where Yuji says, well, he looks down, he kind of like pulls out his phone, he looks at the time and he says, shit. This is where he says, I gotta hurry this up. He throws the ball pretty far and landing it on, well, still lands on the, what's it called, the goal of the, like, soccer, I'm guessing. So yeah, this is where people say, holy shit, This is where, well, Yuji says, shit, I gotta go. So, of course, Yuji, he runs still past with the car, Megami. And, of course, Megami still feels the presence of, Sukuna. But, of course, this is where Yuji just runs past him. Now, of course, this is where Yuji, he is getting towards his grandfather. Now, of course, he just ran over there. But, yeah. Now, of course, this is where Yuji says, hey, grandfather. Now, I should mention one thing. Yuji has, well, what's it called? His left hand is all bandaged up, and it's right now just putting, what's it called, some flowers onto, like, the thing and all that. Throwing out the old flower, putting new flowers and all that. This is where, well, Yuji's grandfather says, you know, Yuji, it's better if you kind of stay with your friends and, well, do some after-school activities and all that. Yuji says, if I do that, then you would probably have a heart attack and die. He's kind of chuckling a little bit. This is where, well, the old man says, I know that, but, you know, I'm never going to give up and all that. Well, not give up. He's like, well, it's better if you don't look after me, Yuji. Just, he says the same original thing. I can't really remember all the words, but yeah. This is where, well, Yuji says, oh, come on, old man. I know you're stubborn as fuck and you won't be able to die anytime. Death can't really take your soul when you're fucking stubborn. But I'm happy that you won't die. As a word, what's it called? Well, Yuji's grandfather says, just promise me one thing, Yuji. Make sure to protect lots of people, even though I know you already do that in your, like, little after activities and not even your school activities. That's where Yuji says, I do that because I want to. I feel kind of bored if I'm inside the house every time. This is where, well, his grandfather chuckles a little bit and says, Yuji, do you want to know about your parents? Yuji says, no. They left me and I don't know. I don't care that much. Is it where, well, his grandfather says, okay. Well, Yuji, I might have to go soon. This is where Yuji says, like I said, you're too stubborn, you won't die. This is where, well, Yuji's putting in the flowers and all that. And this is where, well, Yuji's grandfather still dies. And of course, Yuji, he says, grandfather. This is where, well, he still calls in about with his grandfather and all that. And of course, he's signing those papers about the release things and all that. And of course, Yuji isn't crying, so like in ritual canon. So of course the nurse says, it's okay, Yuji, you can cry. That's where Yuji says, it's fine. This is where, well, Fujigoro says, hey, you. This is where, well, the nurse says, me? No, the other, you, the black hair. This is where Yuji says, who, me? This is where, well, Fujigoro says, yes, you. I need you to come over here and I need to talk to you about something. This is where, well, Fujigoro does tell him about the Sukuna finger and all that. And this is where, well, which Yuji just says, interesting. I can have, here's the case. This is where, well, Fujigoro finds out that the Sukuna finger isn't in there. And of course, this is where he says, you idiot. Where is, what's it called, where is it? This is where, Yuji, he's tired a little bit. He says, it's with my, what's it called, I forgot the girl's name and all that. With basically his friends and all that. And of course, this is where Fujigoro says, wait, why? This is where Yuji says to open it. Oh shit. This is where, well, they start running to the school, and of course the whole cursed sparrows still kind of go after and all that. This is where, well, when that is happening, this is where, well, when they get to the school, of course, Fujigoro says, stay here. This is where Yuji says, oh, screw you, man. This is where, well, Yuji sees, well, Fujigoro just run over there, and Yuji isn't gonna stay. Instead, he gets, well, what's it called, he goes down to a scarf, kind of loosen up the scarf a little bit, and see his golden goggles. So these brass golden goggles and all that, he puts them on. Well, not puts them on. He first takes off his glasses, his like dark shade glasses, puts it into, well, his like, what's it called? Well, into his like back pocket, and then just goes and kind of takes off some things from his, well, eye. Some lenses that actually cover up his, well, true eyes. This is where, well, he gets the golden, what's it called? Well, the he just get the brass goggles and puts him on. And, well, he just, like, uses one of the, with his, scarf to kind of throw onto a tree, get there, and kind of pull himself up because he's a god. But, yeah. This is where when Fujiwara managed to get the girl and the guy away from some cursed spirits. Well, not the girl, mostly the guy. But this is where the girl is kind of being almost eaten with the finger and all that. But this is where, well, something happens. Yuji, he still smashes the window, but of course, he has an all different lookout. Of course, this is where his scarf was the one to kind of make him go in there because, yeah, he didn't just jump. He strategized. And of course, this is where he activated his eyes. Well, he kind of opened his eyes and looked at the cursed spirit, stopping it from a second, like stunning it. This is where, well, Yuji uses a scarf to grab what's called his friend and his other friend, the girl and the guy, and pull them towards him and grab him. And this is where Yuji does kind of like says, "Be gone then." And this is where, well, the cursed spirit just disappears. Well, Megami, when he saw that, he was confused. He kind of sensed a little bit of cursed energy, but doesn't know what the hell was that. He sees Yuji, and Yuji's right now just looking at his friends saying, "You two okay?" Now, of course, the finger is right now on the ground. Yuji didn't grab that. He didn't care that much. But of course, something happens. When Yuji was kind of like trying to check if they were okay, another cursed spirit managed to get in and actually see the finger and eat it. This is where something, well, happens. It exploded because, well, since the cursed energy is becoming one of the special grades, that is happening. So, of course, it becomes a special grade and explode. And, of course, a dome happens, but the pace of the quicker to become a special cursed spirit happens faster. And, of course, it just punches, well, Megami through the wall. Now, of course, this is where Yuji sees this cursed spirit. It's a special grade and all that. And yeah. Let's remember Megami says, "Fuck my arms. Damn it. God damn it. This is a special grade. Fuck." Is it where, well, the special grade is like kind of going crazy because, well, it just became a special grade and it's right now feeling its power and all that. Is where Yuji says, "Great. That guy's kind of getting hurt." Is where, well, Yuji kind of puts, well, his two friends far away from the commotion. Kind of just swings away and kind of puts them far away. And this is where, well, Yuji says, "Now I have to go back." This is where, well, Megami is trying to use his, his demon dogs to kind of fight against it, but realized that he can't still even fight against the special grade. He even uses the bird to kind of use lightning on it, and it didn't work. This is where, well, Gojo felt this present and says, "A special grade? This is bad." This is where, well, Gojo is right now trying to call, well, Fujiwara. Finds out that Fujiwara is not answering the phone, and he's saying, "Shit, this is bad." So, of course, this is where, well, Megami is saying, "Damn it, this thing is strong. I'm gonna die if I can't. That's it. I might have to use this domain." Wait, what's it called? I forgot what was this domain expansion. He was about to say domain expansion until something happens. When the special grade kind of rushes at him, he then just gets a scarf around him, kind of grabbing him from the waist and pulling him away. This is where, well, Fujiwara was confused. He was like, "What the?" This is where, well, he gets pushed down to kind of like sit down position, and he was like, "What?" This is where, well, this is where Yuji says, "Don't give up, kid." This is where, Megami says, "Kid, you look like the same age as me." This is where Yuji says, "Even though I'm the same age, I don't give up easily." This is where, well, his scarf is kind of floating, and of course his hair is kind of floating also, Yuji's hair. Now, of course, his eyes are activated. This is where, well, Yuji says, "Just don't give up and don't get in my way." This is where he rushes at the cursed spirits in blinding speed. This is where the cursed spirit does the same and rushes at Yuji, trying to intend to punch or to call Yuji with a cursed fist, a cursed energy fist. This is where Yuji activates his eyes and erasing the cursed energy from the fist, dodging the fist and kicking, well, kneeling the cursed spirit in the face. This is where, well, Yuji, I forgot to mention, he twisted his body to just knee him in the face, kind of smashing him into the school. This is where, well, the cursed spirit was like, He was like, he was angry and all that, blah, 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 and rushes at Yuji trying to attempt to punch him. This is where, well, Fushiguro is seeing this, and he's like, get away. You're not a Jujutsu sorcerer. This is where Yuji says, even though I'm not a Jujutsu sorcerer, doesn't mean anything. He uses a scarf to grab the cursed spirit around the waist and just throw him. Because, well, Yuji doesn't even know what the hell a sorcerer is exactly. Now, I say exactly with quotation marks because he kind of knows a little bit. This is where, well, he actually kind of knows because, well, Fujigoro kind of told him, but yeah. This is where, well, he throws the cursed spirit into the, what they call school again, and the cursed spirit is kind of getting angry because it doesn't know what the hell is happening. Fighting against what they call Yuji is kind of difficult. So, of course, this is where when Gojo gets there and says, hey, Megami. This is where, well, not Megami, Fujigoro. This is where Fujigoro says, Gojo? Gojo says, so, what is happening? Where's the cursed spirit? This is where they hear commotion, and right now the school roof kind of breaks through because, yes, Yuji and the cursed spirit were in the school. The cursed spirit smashes through the school, and Yuji was right now in the air. He uses a scarf to, well, grab two of the cursed spirit's arms, and then uses his knee to drive a knee into, what's it called, the cursed spirit's face. This is where he smashes back down to the ground, well, mostly to the school, making another crater, while Yuji lands down perfectly fine. This is like, it feels like, what's it called, Fujigoro seeing this battle like Yuji has done this before. Because yes, Yuji has done this before. This is where Yuji is right now fighting against the cursed spirit and right now whooping his ass. Now, how is that even possible? Because every time the cursed spirit does use what's it called, cursed energy, it seems like it gets erased every time. I should mention now, Yuji's special eyes allows him to erase cursed energy. Temporary, but yeah. Think of it like Aizawa. So yeah, that's one of Yuji's abilities of his eyes to kind of erase it. This is where Yuji is right now fighting against him multiple times. And of course, this is where he kind of grabs his like scarf again to kind of tie it around the, what's it called, cursed spirit. And this is where the cursed spirit tries to get out, but this is where the kind of scarf is a tough material, so it can't get away. This is where Yuji, he then uses his left arm to punch at it. And this is where, well, his left arm kind of exploded with energy. Now this cursed energy was actually denser than normal cursed energy, and Gojo notices, and even what's it called, Fujigoro notices. This is where his arm exploded with energy, breaking the bandages underneath it. This is where, well, Yuji's left arm is this arm right here. So yeah, this is where he punches the cursed energy, destroying it in one shot. But this is where Yuji says, fuck my arm. I really should start learning how to use it much properly instead of destroying the bandages that over every time. This is where when he punches the cursed spirit, he managed to, well, explode it. And this is where Yuji sees the finger and decides to grab it with his arm. And then rip it out. This is where, well, the cursed spirit just explodes in fire and all that. But of course, the scarf is not really hurt that much. It's a very tough, dense material. It's not dense, but it's a good material. So yeah. So Yuji says, luckily the scarf didn't burnt, because I already know that someone who made this scarf for me is gonna be pissed. So yeah. This is where, well, Yuji has the finger saying, this is weird. But yeah, this is where, well, he has the finger. He does notice what to call Fujigoro and, well, what to call Gojo, but he closes his eyes. Throwing the finger at what's it called, well, not flipping off, but throwing the Sukuna finger at what's it called, Fujigoro. Fujigoro manages to catch and says, this is the Sukuna finger. This is where Yuji walks away. This is where Yuji starts kind of bandaging his arm again. Well, kind of trying to hide it away from them. This is where Megami and Gojo sees the arm. Well, mostly, well, I mean, yeah, Gojo can see it a little bit. But yeah, he can sense the cursed energy flowing from it. And this is where Yuji's kind of just trying to hide it. This is where, well, Yuji's walking away. Now, of course, this is where Yuji takes off his goggles, puts his scarf back to normal, but also gets his contacts. This is where, well, Gojo was seeing this. Now, Yuji does notice that Gojo's seeing him, but Gojo's thinking, wait, contacts? Wait, but he can see perfectly fine in the battle. Huh. Very interesting kid. This is where Megumi says, Gojo. So since Yuji denied the Sukuna finger, this time, what's called Fujigoro is not gonna ask him to suspend his not suspend, to try to help him with his kind of deal with the execution. So yeah, that won't happen. But this is where Fujigoro says, Gojo, do you mind talking to that kid? Gojo finished that line. This is where Fujigoro nodded. This is where Fujigoro says, do you know what even happened? Gojo says, not exactly. But the cursed spirits look like every time he tries to use his cursed energy, it gets erased. Don't know what happened, but very interesting kid. But Fujigoro, let's get you back to what's it called, Jujutsu High. Also, click, take a bunch of pictures at Fujigoro and saying, man, these second years are really gonna like this goddamn pictures of the first year kind of getting hurt. That's where Fujigoro gets a tick mark and it's like, you fuck. Is it where, Yuji, he goes back home. Now, of course, he does take back the 2 kids that were on the on the roof to the hospital, but yeah. This is where he leaves and he gets to his house. Now he goes to sleep and the next day happens. And of course, he's right now waiting for his grandfather to the cremation to be done. So, of course, this is where Yuji is right now just waiting and all that. Now, of course, this is where something happens. Yuji is right now texting on his phone. We're not even texting. He's just watching YouTube right now. Or not YouTube. He's just hearing music. So, yeah. He's kind of just waiting. His eyes are kind of tired, so yeah. But this is where, he's just hearing music. And this is where he kind of goes on his phone to kind of look at what music he's hearing now. He kind of looks at the screen and sees someone behind him. Because the screen does flash behind him to show that someone's behind him. A guy with white hair. And, that's the only thing he noticed from his screen. He turns around really fast. And, of course, his shades meets with the called Gojo. So, of course, through his shades, you can still see Gojo. Gojo says, huh, interesting kid, aren't you? Why are you here, then? This is where, Yuji ignores him. Fully ignores him. This is where Yuji just doesn't want to talk to this guy or anyone. So this is where, Gojo says, huh, ignoring me. You know that's rude. It's kind of rude to ignore those who are older than you. This is where, Yuji is like just ignoring him, keeps ignoring him and all that. And this is where Gojo says, kid, I just want to talk to you. This is where, Yuji keeps ignoring him. This is where, Gojo kind of sits down next to Yuji and then kind of talks to him. Trying to make Yuji kind of listen to him. He knows that probably Yuji is ignoring him, but yeah. Yuji is ignoring him, but then listens a little bit. This is where, Gojo says, though I did see you in the fight against that special curse grade. The special grade. This is where I just want to ask you, how could you erase his curse energy? I have never seen someone, especially from the 3 clans in Jujutsu sorcery, to erase curse energy. I'm just wondering, how can you erase him? And also, what's with that weird arm? Yuji ignores him and kind of actually sits further away from him. This is where Gojo notices and says, so, you're ignoring me and also not even going to tell me about anything about yourself. Huh. Fine. I will stop annoying you. I just want to ask you. Can you please, or just think in your mind, do you want to join Jujutsu High? This is where Yuji ignores himself. This is where, he kind of ignores him but heard over Jujutsu High and kind of thinks about it. Because he remembers someone kind of telling him, I'm just from Jujutsu High. He gets a flashback of that. This is where he just said, no, I'm not joining. Yuji said it. Finally, he just said one word. This is where Gojo sighs and says, fine, just think about it. He gives a card to Yuji, and Yuji kind of takes it a little bit and looks at it and then doesn't care. Is it where, we go into Yuji kind of putting in the ashes into, his grandfather's kind of vase and all that, and yeah. Yuji goes back home and then thinks about it but doesn't care. he kind of just puts it in his pocket and just doesn't care. Now, of course, as well, we go into a time skip. Now, with what's it called? The special grade that was kind of meant for Yuji in the original canon won't actually be taken by Fujigoro and Nobra, or whatever her name is. She's actually still gonna be on the team, but Fujigoro doesn't have another team, so yeah. They're only a 2-man squad, not a 3-man squad. Now, of course, Gojo wanted Yuji to be the 3rd member, but he cannot get Yuji. And Yuji hasn't joined Jujutsu High. So, of course, with that happening, Gojo sighs, but yeah. Now, of course, with the special curse spirit or whatever, it won't be fighting against Norbert or what's it called, Fujigoro. Instead, Gojo was the one to take care of it, but yeah. Now, of course, we go into a time skip. Well, not even a time skip. A kind of couple of months later. Now, it will be the exchange band and all that still will happen. But we go into Yuji. Yuji kind of moved to another kind of town and all that. Instead of still staying in his, like, normal, what's it called, high school and all that. But yeah. He kind of, well, not moved to another. He just decided to have a vacation and kind of just look around, but yeah. Now, of course, he's in the city with Junpei. So Junpei will still kind of have trouble with the cursed spirit, but yeah. And Nanami right now is trying to fight against the cursed spirit and all that. And usually meets Junpei. Now, of course, they do talk about what's it called, movies. Because Yuji was in the movie theater and yeah. Well, not in the movie theater, but he was like going to a movie theater until he saw Junpei kind of be bothered by a fat dude. And so Yuji decided to be the best thing ever and just punch the fat dude. He was just being annoyed. So yeah. Yuji, he might not pick violence half the time, but when it comes to people annoying him, he's gonna punch the shit out of people. Now, he thought the older fat dude was being a pedo, so he just punched the shit out of him. So of course Junpei was kind of shocked, but yeah. Yuji and Junpei kind of became friends over, one breakfast a night. And of course, Junpei was there, and of course, he lets, Yuji stayed over a house and all that. And of course, Yuji does meet, Junpei's mother, but yeah. And of course, Junpei's mother was kind of drunk and sleeping. And of course, Yuji was in the couch just sleeping. And of course, Junpei was in his room, but yeah. But of course, a special, not even special grade, a just cursed spirit was coming to go eat his mother because, Junpei's mother. But of course, Yuji, he reacts fast enough and uses his cursed eyes, takes off one of his lenses and uses his special eyes to erase the cursed spirit entirely. This is where, Yuji kind of closes his eyes and did waste a lot of energy. And of course, he sees the Sukuna finger, and of course, he says, "Goddamn Sukuna." Not Sukuna finger. He's just like, this damn finger. This is annoying. This is where he decides to think about it. He then just takes off one of his lenses and goes outside. And he then channels enough cursed energy into his eyes. And then looks at the finger and uses the ability, Eraser. This is where, when it kind of, with this energy contacts with what's it called, contains or contacts with what's it called, Sukuna's finger, it erases, turning it into dust. This is where Yuji's eyes start bleeding and hurting. He's like, ugh, my eyes, they're painful as hell. Fuck my eyes. But of course, he does put his eye lenses back and of course wipe off the blood, but yeah. But of course, Sukuna's fingers are now down to 19. Yes, Yuji's eyes are kind of special enough to actually erase them. This is where Yuji's eyes is, I should probably kind of calm down by using that. This is where, we go into, Yuji still talking to Junpei, and Junpei's mother was not dead because of the, cursed spirit. So of course, when the cursed spirit name, Menohito, whatever his name was again, kind of comes and kind of tries to meet Junpei to see if Junpei is depressed and all that. Finds out that Junpei isn't depressed, and his mother is not dead. And there's actually another person that he should have counted for, but he doesn't know who the hell this person is. He's guessing that Junpei made a friend, and he can't even find the Sukuna finger. He legit looked around the whole time. Even when, Yuji, Junpei, and even his mother went to go watch a movie. Because they were happy about that. Now, of course, when, whatever his name again, the cursed spirit with the, patch face and all that, comes to look for the Sukuna finger, he can't find it. But he finds dust that has remainder of cursed energy, similar to the Sukuna finger. And he is confused. Did the Sukuna finger turn to dust? That can't be impossible. No. Unless... Wait, how? No. What? He's confused because he never heard of someone managing to erase, turn it to dust, what's it called? Well, the finger. So, of course, Yuji, he was watching the movie and laughing and all that. And, of course, bullies did try to, Yuji, not Yuji, Junpei's mother went to go do something because she was scared the fuck out of the movies. But yeah, and kind of bored out of the fuck. But yeah, this is where, well, she went to go to, well, the shop and all that. And of course, when Junpei and Yuji stopped watching the movie because it was done and all that, of course, Yuji says it was kind of boring. It's where, well, Junpei says same. It was kind of really boring. Now, I should mention one thing. Yuji is actually 16, not 15. He's a little bit older. So, of course, well, Yuji's also the height of 5'8" still, so yeah. So, of course, when Junpei and Yuji were leaving, bullies started kind of coming in to fight Junpei. But, of course, Yuji whooped their ass easily. Just karate kicking one down to the ground and knocking the other one. This is where Junpei says, that's actually amazing. This is where Yuji says, it's just basic karate skills. My grandfather was the one to teach me somewhat. I can teach you if you want to, because you don't want bullies to always annoy you. This is where Junpei says, huh, I guess so. This is where, well, Yuji somewhat teaches him. And when it comes to the school, bullshit thing, Junpei, well, gets in. Of course, that one bully tries to fight against Junpei, but of course Junpei cracks his arm. So yeah, Yuji also teaches him some brutal stuff, so yeah. Now, of course, Junpei does that, but of course the vase and all that, not vessel, the vase of like the cursed domain or whatever, Yuji can get in, but yeah. Of course, Yuji went to go check on Junpei because it seems like he hasn't came back. Now, Junpei has been trying to get away, well, not get away, he actually has his Shinigami or whatever it's called, fighting against the cursed spirit, because he's also with Nonami. And when Yuji kind of sees this, because when he gets in, because he walks through it super easily, he sees, well, Nonami and Junpei. Now, Junpei is having trouble against, well, the cursed spirit, the patch face. The patch face is like saying, oh, can you really defeat me with my army of humans, creation cursed spirits? Nonami says, damn it. Hey kid, get away from this place. Junpei says, no. This is my problem also. This is where Yuji appears. And of course, he already took out his lenses and, well, his glasses before. And of course, he puts on his goggles and says, Junpei, are you okay? This is where, well, Junpei was about to get hit by something until a scarf around him wrapped around and kind of pulled him in, or pull him out. This is where Nonami saw this and says, Junpei, or not Junpei, he says, kid. This is where he sees another kid kind of pulling him towards him. This is where Yuji says, Junpei, are you okay? Junpei says, Yuji? This is where Yuji says, it seems that we have, I guess, a criminal that's here. And Junpei says, I don't know what he is, but he's not human. That's where Yuji says, I can see that. This is where, well, the cursed spirit, the patch face, says, aw, another human. But you're not a Jujutsu sorcerer, so interesting. Not even two Jujutsu sorcerers. One Jujutsu sorcerer were two kids. Interesting, don't you think? Jujutsu sorcerer? If I kill them, I'll be able to, well, kill you. Would that make you angry, sorcerer? That's where, Nanami says, fuck, this is bad. This is where he tells the two kids to go away. But this is where, Yuji runs in forward, and of course, all the cursed bears are rushing towards the car. Yuji, and Yuji turns on his eyes, well, activates him by just opening his eyes. And of course, it erases all of them. Now, of course, this is where Yuji is able to erase them all, because they were all just made of cursed energy and someone turned into human. So, of course, he turned back into human. Yuji didn't know this, but he just didn't care. He then rushes at what's called the patch face and kicks him. Now, of course, the patch face was shocked and gets kicked in the face. This is where he says, What the hell? How can you do that? No, that can't be impossible. I changed your soul. That's it. He's getting angry. Now, of course, Nanami was shocked. This is where Yuji's right now kicking against, well, Patchface. Now, of course, where the Patchface is trying to, well, turn his body into, well, he turned one of his arms into, well, a, what's called mace and tries to hit Yuji. But Yuji dodges that shit because he's flexible as fuck. He dodges and then kicks the Patchface in the face before dodging and twisting his body, dodging, kicking him right in the face. This is where the Patchface says, motherfucker. This is where Nanami is shocked, but also uses his own special type of, well, curse energy techniques. He's able to kind of hit the weak point. So, of course, he slices at the curse energy. And, of course, is where, well, not curse energy, the curse spirit. And, of course, is where Yuji and Nanami starts fighting against him, tag teaming him the shit out of. This is where Junpei, he's trying to recover his energy. So, yeah, because he's kind of tired. This is where, well, Nanami is shocked. But every time that was called, the curse spirit managed to touch him, it doesn't affect him. And the curse spirit actually realized, what the hell? It's like every time he uses his cursed energy, it gets erased in an instant. And then he looks at the kid, and the only thing he sees from his eyes are two glowing red eyes. He says, you're not human, are you? This is where Yuji says, I am human. Kicks him right in the fucking, like, jawline. This is where he goes up and says, this is impossible. No, I won't give up. Domain expansion. And of course pushes Yuji and brings in what's called Nanami. And of course this is where Nanami says, fuck. Well, I guess I'm gonna get hit by this. This is where Junpei and Yuji say, fuck. This is where Yuji says, Junpei, don't make me up. This is where, well, Junpei says, wait, why? Just do it. Pushes Yuji up in the air. And of course this is where Yuji says, demonic arm. This is where he finally named his arm. He can't really name it because he doesn't even know what it is. He's called it demonic arm bringer. This is where he punches the fucking dome and shattering it. This is where when both Yuji and what's it called, the curse spirit eye connected. This is where the curse spirit tried to use his domain expansion to hit Yuji, but he couldn't because everything got erased because Yuji activated his eyes to erase it. This is where he is shocked. This is where the curse spirit says, what the fuck are you? He sees the arm that Yuji has, and Junpei sees it also. He was confused why Yuji always has bandages, and when he questioned Yuji, Yuji says, nah, it's just because I was kind of hurt and burnt really bad, and I really don't like showing it. But that isn't burnt. Did Yuji lie to him? Yuji kind of says, this arm is none of your concern, you fuck. I won't let you hurt any humans. This is where, well, this is where the Patchface says, why you little shit, I'm gonna kill you. Rushes at what's it called, Yuji. Yuji rushes forward. And of course he uses his what's it called, demonic bringer, punches the curse, curse spirit up in the jawline, fixing his jawline for him. Because, well, he just did kick it, so I guess fix it by punching it. So of course this is when the curse spirit goes up and says, So I almost lost what's called connection to my phone because it was almost about to turn off. Like I only had 2% of charger. I didn't even look at it. So shit for that, but yeah. So we go into Yuji kind of uppercutting the shit out of the curse spirit. And of course is where the curse spirit says, no, I can't lose. Not to you, whatever the fuck you are. That's where Yuji says, too bad. He takes off his goggles and his eyes turns into a bright red. This is where Yuji says, it might hurt my eyes because I've done it before, but I'm gonna have to do it. 4, what's it called? 100% demonic eyes, beam blast. This is where he says demonic blast. This is where red laser beam shoots off from his eyes, and of course the curse spirit was in the air and it shoots him, blasting him away, just obliterating him and obliterating the what's it called domain. And actually a bunch of people saw the red beam, even Gojo. He was in the town because he was just like, maybe I should find Nanami. And of course it's where he sees the red beam. Of course Yuji's eyes are burned. He's my eyes, shit. But of course the curse spirit did die, the one that was made out of human hatred. But of course it's where Yuji's like, my eyes, fuck. Of course it burns, and of course his eyes just hurts really bad and does fall forward. And of course, Nanami didn't manage to catch him, and Junpei says, Yuji! This is where, well, Nanami says, what the? He sees the, the glasses and even a box of contacts, and just grabs them for this kid because he's thinking that's what the kid used. Well, what the kid used, but yeah. This is where, well, Nanami just says, wow, rip. He did obliterate the cursed energy. Amazing power, but very dangerous. This is where, well, Gojo appears and says, yo, what happened? This is where he sees Junpei, Nanami, and the, well, kind of kid that he met before. The one with scarf, and yeah. This is where Gojo says, what happened to that kid? This is where Nanami says, something happened. Also, his arm is strange, but it's cool. Yo. This is where Junpei says, Yuji, you okay? This is where Yuji can't really talk because he passed out from the pain. This is where, well, we go into, well, a kind of time skip about, well, 24 hours. Yuji wakes up and says, ow, my eyes, they hurt so bad. So where, well, it doesn't really hurt him because he just woke up from the pain and all. And of course, he just closed his eyes so it wouldn't hurt his eyes that much if he opened them. And this is where, well, Shoko says, interesting eyes, kid. Interesting eyes. I managed to heal you by using reverse curse energy, but don't ever do that again. This is where Yuji says, who are you? This is where she says, you can open your eyes now. Well, at least one of them. Your right eye. Your left eye seems to be hurt also. Really more bad than your right eye. Yuji opens his right and sees Shoko. Now, of course, this is where Shoko says, your eyes are very interesting. Red, but also around it being black. Very interesting. They're similar to Gojo's, but more powerful and interesting. So, what would you like to call them? Yuji says, oh shit, I don't have my eye contacts. This is where she says, your eye contacts? Oh, these? Yeah, Nanami managed to grab them for you. This is where Yuji says, can I have them? This is where Shoko says, very interesting eye contacts. They're able to heal your eyes by containing them in good shape. But it didn't heal what to call your left eye because it was also kind of hurt. So, I'm guessing, what did you do for your left eye? We know about your both eyes kind of shooting a giant laser beam and obliterating a special curse energy. But what did you do to your left eye? Yuji says, nothing exactly. I might have overused it, but that isn't the case. This is where she says, since I don't know anything about your eyes, I'm just gonna guess you did overuse them, even though you just said that. But it sounds like a lie. That's where Yuji says, ugh. This is where she says, but I'm not here to question it because I don't care. That's where Yuji says, phew. This is where, well, she says, even though I'm not here to question it, he's here to question it. And this is where she points at Gojo. And Gojo looks at Yuji with an uncalculating face. Well, an uncalculating face and all that. You can't really see his emotions. And of course, Yuji says, not you again. White hair. This is where, what's it called? Yuji didn't call him white hair, he just calls him snow hair. This is where Shoko almost laughed a little bit. This is where Gojo says, really? You didn't remember my name? I even told you my name. My name is Gojo. And I know your name is Yuji. Yuji is Itadori. Because, well, yeah. This is where Yuji says, I just really didn't care that much. This is where, well, Junpei is right now with what they call Nanami. And Nanami kind of questioned him a little bit, but yeah. This is where, well, Yuji says, I don't really care. Oh, my eye still hurts, but whatever. So where he kind of just says, I still don't really care, snow hair. This is where Gojo gets, well, a kind of tick mark on his head, but yeah. This is where Gojo says, so, kid, I'm just kind of wondering, your eyes, what are they called in that arm? This is where, well, Shoko says, that is interesting. Your arm is very interesting. It's not normal, is it? Gojo, how much curse energy can you feel from the arm? A lot. And it's different and more tense than normal for normal people. That's where Yuji says, that's none of your concern. Yuji says, can I have bandages? This is where Shoko says, sure. Yuji starts wrapping his arm really fast to kind of cover it. And Yuji says, none of your concern. Kind of puts his arm behind him. And Gojo says, you really don't like telling us anything. Fine. This is where, what's it called? Junpei managed to walk in and says, Yuji, are you okay? This is where Yuji says, I'm fine. Junpei says, you're not fine. That was a very crazy attack, but you realize since I'm the older kid here, technically, because I'm 17 and I know you're 16. Yuji says, right, I did tell you my age. Doesn't mean anything. Yuji said. This is where Junpei says, really? Okay, but that doesn't matter. You're still younger and I have to kind of protect you. That was dangerous. You could have blinded your eyes, Shoko kind of said. Mrs. Shoko said. This is where Shoko just says, I can just be called Shoko. This is where Junpei said, nodded. And this is where, well, Gojo said, what about me? I'm here also. And this is where Junpei says, also this white hair guy. But I don't remember his name. Gojo gets a tick mark saying, oh my fucking god, did they all forget my name? Shoko kind of smiles. Just kind of laughs a little bit. But this is where Nanami says, hey, kid, are you two anywhere for what's it called? Well, he says, are you two thinking of joining Jujutsu High? Junpei says, probably, but I don't know about my mother. She probably thinks it's a bad idea. But then again, I don't really want to be in my school, so yeah. This is where, well, Yuji was about to answer saying no until he thinks about it. He thinks about it a little bit. Then remembers a flashback, but then just forgets about it a little bit. And said yes. This is where Gojo says, didn't I tell you that the first time to join us in Jujutsu High, but now you want to join because of this guy? What are you, two brothers? Junpei says, no, we're not. We're friends. This is where Yuji says, yep. This is where, well, Yuji just puts also bandages on his eyes so he wouldn't open it on the accident. So, of course, this is where just to cover up his eye and all. And, of course, this is where Yuji puts on his eyelenses for his right eye. And, of course, this is where Gojo stops him and says, oh, no, you don't, kid. Whatever your eyes are, they don't waste enough energy, do they? Like mine does. This is where, well, Yuji says they do, and I don't really like using them or people looking at them. This is where Shoko says, they're pretty, of course, but they are kind of demonic. This is where Gojo says, I also have to break you out of that habit. This is where Yuji says, so am I going to have the blonde dude as my sensei? Or, well, this is where Nanami says, no. I'm not a sensei to Jujutsu High. This snow hair is. This is where Gojo now has some more tick marks. He's saying, stop calling me snow hair. This is where, well, Yuji says, I don't really want him as my sensei. Gojo says, look here, kid. We might have similar eyes, but I can still kick your ass, kid. Because there's no way in hell you'll be able to kick my ass. We go into a 20-minute later, and of course, Yuji is right now on top of Gojo. And Gojo is kind of shocked that he got his ass kicked. He used Limitless, but of course, Yuji activated his eyes to kind of, well, erase the cursed energy that's actually holding up Limitless, or being used by Limitless. So, of course, this is where Yuji managed to kick the shit out of Gojo in the face and then punch him in the stomach, but yeah. Gojo was shocked. He didn't expect the kid to erase his Limitless. Like, that was shocking. Yuji says, my eyes, they can erase, but they can also do other things. But I will never mention that. Now, of course, this is where Gojo says, fine. So, what's it called? Gojo says, but we have 1 month, and I do want to show up to the exchange event with 2 other students. So, of course, we're going to train for that 1 month. So, we do a 1 month time skip, and of course, Yuji is actually a little bit taller now. He's like 5'9" now, because he did train his body more. Because, yes, he'd done it before, but yeah. Of course, Junpei does the same, and he's, well, what's it called? Just stronger than normal, so he has backbone and all. And of course, Gojo says, well, we're gonna go in like a present. That's where Gojo says, we're gonna put you inside 2 boxes. Junpei says, no, what's it called? He says, I am, what's it called? What is that thing called? That you're kind of scared of being in a tight space, but yeah. He said that. And of course, Yuji just looked at him saying, fuck no. Unless you carry me in a sleep bag, I'll be fine. Junpei says, really? Yuji says, yep, I'm tired as fuck. This is where Gojo says, Fine, I'll carry you in the sleep bag. Yay! This is where, well, we go into a time skip. And of course, this is where, well, we go into Tokyo students seeing what's it called, the Kyoko students. So yeah. Now, of course, what's it called? Since Fujigoro, he still has what's it called, the same techniques in the original canon, but yeah. Since they weren't really depressed of Yuji that much. But yeah. Fujigoro and what's it called? Norbura. So yeah. This is where, well, the other students are looking at each other. But yeah. That's where Gojo says, I got gifts. Gift. And this is where he says to the Tokyo side, saying, well, I didn't get a gift exactly, but I got 2 other people to join. This is where Junpei says, yo. He just kind of wave, saying hello. This is where Yuji's still asleep in the, what's it called, sleeping bag. And of course, Gojo had it to carry him. So of course, they all say, what's in the yellow bag? This is where Gojo says, Yuji, wake up. This is where, well, one girl says, Yuji? This is where, well, Gojo says, Yuji, Itadori, wake up. This is where, well, one girl says, Yuji? This is where, well, Yuji wakes up and says, is it time? God, I didn't even get to sleep well. This is where Gojo says, not my fault. You could have been in that box and be more comfortable. This is where Yuji says, no, you would have probably killed me because I wouldn't have no oxygen. Gojo says, potato, whatever, the same. Yuji just ignores him, but yeah. This is where, well, Yuji and Junpei are right now next to Tokyo, the Tokyo students. And of course, the Tokyo students like Panda, Maki, Togo, and what's it called? Fujigoro and what's it called? Nobara are actually seeing them, kind of analyzing them, but yeah. But one girl's actually looking at Yuji, fully at Yuji. Yuji's eyes are still kind of brownish. Well, not brownish. They have glasses to kind of cover up his eyes a little bit. But of course, those glasses won't actually well, not glasses. He has his goggles, but yeah. And he has one eye kind of open, but not all of it. But of course, this is where, well, Yuji glances towards the girl. A girl with green hair and brown eyes. Yes, Maya. Now, Maya looks at Yuji, and she gets angry. Just very angry. And of course, this is where, well, her teammates can feel this anger. Her sensei can also feel this anger. The principals, when they got there, kind of complain of like who are these 2 students, but then feel the anger. And Gojo also feels the anger. Maki can feel the anger. And of course, this is where the anger is not towards him, but they can feel it. And the anger is mostly towards his call, Yuji. Junpei can feel it because he's next to Yuji. And there's no one next to Yuji, so yeah. So, of course, this is where Yuji says, hello there, Maya. Maya. This is where Maya says, Yuji. This is where, well, what's it called? The students were like, you know each other? This is where, well, Maya, she walks out of the freaking, what's it called? Being in, well, with the other students and going up to Yuji, grabbing his arm and pulling him away from everyone. This is where Maya says, you told me that you weren't gonna join. Yuji says, I changed my mind. Calm down, Maya. Besides, you kind of look cute when you're angry. This is where Maya blushes and says, you bastard. This is where Yuji says, I'm just kidding. But, well, I'm kind of kidding, not really. But, I'm just saying, I changed my mind, okay? No. Kind of fighting against cursed spirits are annoying if I don't have any training. This is where Maya says, but you said you weren't going to join. You promised me saying that you would kind of not join. You bastard. I tried to find a way to get out of this goddamn school, out of the goddamn clan, but I can never find a way. And you say that you will help me find a way when you're not joining Jujutsu High. This is where Yuji says, like I said, I just changed my mind, okay? This is where she glares at Yuji. And Yuji kind of looks at her with, in basically unemotionless face, but this is where Yuji kind of says, besides, it's nice to see you. This is where Maya says, it's nice to see you too. This is where Yuji grabs her hand and says, come on, Maya. Don't be so angry at me or down. Don't worry, I'll still find a way. You said you always wanted to live like normally, so I'll still find a way. This is where Maya says, thank you, Yuji. This is where Maya goes back to her, what they call, kind of teammates. And Yuji kind of, stands next to Junpei. Now, of course, Maki want to ask Maya and also Yuji. But this is where, Maya kind of ignores her what's it called teammates because they were gonna ask her questions, and of course Yuji kind of ignores everyone except for Junpei. But yeah, that's where Gojo says interesting, very interesting. But whatever, let's go into the exchange. But this is where I'm gonna leave it off for part 1. Yes. Have a nice potato day, potato night, potato seed, potato, and potato. Potato.